Okay, so you're a founder. You're in a race against time to raise capital. But what if that easy money you take today ends up costing you a massive piece of your own company down the road? That's what we're digging into today. We're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden dilution traps in safes and convertible notes, and most importantly, show you how to sidestep them.
Yeah, this quote it hits the nail on the head, right? They feel like free money. Why? Because you get the cash, and you can get right back to building your product, no questions asked. But it's an illusion, a really dangerous one. The real cost is lurking in the background, and it doesn't pop up until your next big funding round.
So this is the big question. Before you sign a single document, you have to ask yourself, how much of my company am I really giving away here? This isn't just about the cash hitting your bank account. We're talking about the future of your company, your dream. And that's what we're here for. We're going to give you the tools to figure out exactly what that number is.
So what's the big deal? Why is everyone using safes and convertible notes? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. They're easy, they're fast, they're the path of least resistance. You get to skip all those tough, awkward conversations about valuation, avoid a ton of legal fees, and just get back to work. Back to what you love, building your company.
And this is the classic kick the can down the road mindset. You tell yourself, I'll figure out the math later. But here's the thing. Those decisions you're putting off, they don't just disappear. They compound. Every safe, every note you sign, it's like planting a little seed of complexity. It just grows quietly. And by the time you finally look, you've got this tangled mess that's basically strangling your ownership.
Let's just be crystal clear about what we mean by dilution. This isn't just some abstract financial term. It's a quiet transfer of ownership. It's you giving away a slice of your dream, piece by piece. And with safes and notes, the scary part is that it all happens in the shadows. It just sits there, waiting for that moment when the lights finally flick on, and you see just how much of your company is already gone.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do these things actually work? Look, it's not rocket science, but the devil, as they say, is in the details. And those details are exactly where so many founders get burned. Our goal here is to make sure that doesn't happen to you.
All right, you're going to want to lean in for this one because this is a biggie. This is where a ton of founders get tripped up. Pre-money safes versus post-money safes. With a pre-money safe, the valuation is set before your investment comes in. What does that mean? It means your actual dilution is a big question mark until your next big round. You're kind of rolling the dice. Now, with a post-money safe, the valuation is set after the investment. That locks in the investor's ownership percentage right from the get-go. And trust me, that can be a very, very expensive mistake for a founder.
Now, let's switch gears to convertible notes. Think of them like a loan, but with a really important twist. The investor doesn't actually want their cash back. Nope, they want equity. They want a piece of your company. So when you go to raise your next round of funding, poof, that loan magically turns into shares, and you're basically repelling them with a chunk of your future.
And this is where the math can get, well, a little sneaky. That 6% interest on a note, it doesn't sound like much, does it? But let's say it sits there for 2 years. That's a 12% increase on the original amount. So you end up giving away more of your company, even though you didn't raise a single extra dollar. It's like a silent killer of your equity, just ticking away in the background.
Okay, now here's where things can go from complicated to just a total mess. See, one safe isn't so bad, but what often happens is founders end up stacking them. You raise one small round, then another, just to keep the lights on. And each one adds another layer of complexity, another promise. And before you know it, you are in deep.
So let's walk through it. You sign your first safe. Let's say it's for 10% of the company. Seems pretty reasonable, right? You've got cash in the bank, you're building, everything feels great. But this is just the first step. Then, maybe 6 months go by. You need a bit more runway to hit that next milestone. So you do another safe. This time, it's another 8%. Okay, still feels manageable. But you can probably hear that little voice in the back of your head starting to whisper, hey, what's going on here?
And then one more, just a small one, to get you over the finish line before the big priced round. Another 5%. You see, each one of these, in isolation, felt like a smart, necessary move. But when you start adding them up, the numbers get scary fast.
And boom, just like that, you've promised away almost a quarter of your entire company. And this is before your main lead investor for the big round has even walked in the door. This is the stacking effect. And for way too many founders, this moment is a brutal, brutal wake-up call.
And listen, it's not just the dilution that's the problem here. It's the sheer chaos. Imagine trying to untangle all those different safes and notes. They all have different valuation caps, different discounts, different terms.
It is an absolute spreadsheet nightmare, and that is the last thing you need when you're trying to impress a new investor and close a huge round.
Which brings us to the moment of truth, the priced round. This is it. This is when the new, big-time investors come in. They buy shares at a fixed price, and you get a real, formal valuation for your company. And it's also the moment where all those little promises, all those safes and notes, finally convert into actual equity. This is where you find out what's really left.
So this is the before picture. You look at your cap table. That's just the scorecard of who owns what. And it looks beautiful, right? 100% founder-owned. It's all yours. But it's a fantasy. It's not real. It doesn't include all those IOUs you wrote to your early investors.
And here's the aftershot. Suddenly, that 100% is gone. Poof. You're left with 65%. And remember, that's before the new investors even take their slice of the pie. The feeling you get right then, it's just this pit in your stomach. It's shock, it's a little bit of anger, and a whole lot of regret. It's the moment you realize just how much of your dream you've already given away.
And look, this isn't just about how you feel. A messy, complicated cap table is a massive red flag to new investors. It's like showing up to a first date with a chaotic, disorganized house. It screams that you might not have your act together, and that can cost you big time. It can mean a lower valuation, or it could mean the deal just goes away.
Okay, so that's the horror story. But here's the good news. It does not have to be your story. You can absolutely avoid this trap. And the key isn't to just say no to all safes and notes. It's about being smart. It's about being strategic. It's about going in with your eyes wide open. So let's talk about how you do that.
This right here, this is non-negotiable. Before you even think about signing one of these agreements, you have to model it out. I know, it sounds intimidating, but it's not. A simple spreadsheet is all you need. You can plug in different valuation scenarios and see exactly what your ownership looks like after everything converts. Oh, and a huge mistake people make? They forget to factor in the new option pool for employees, which dilutes you even more. Doing this work up front, this visibility, is your absolute secret weapon.
Look, safes are not the enemy here. Used correctly, they can be an amazing tool to get you the cash you need to get to that next level. But you've got to use them the right way. What does that mean? It means raise a small amount. Take it from people who believe in you and your vision. Use it as a short-term bridge, like 6 to 12 months, to get you to that proper price round. And for goodness sake, keep the terms clean and consistent across all of them.
So here's the real takeaway. The goal isn't to avoid dilution altogether. I mean, if you're building a venture-backed company, it's just a part of the game. You can't avoid it. But you can control it. You can manage it. You can make it a deliberate, strategic choice instead of a nasty surprise down the road.
So, I want to leave you with this one last thought. Your technology, your product, it's valuable. You pour your heart and soul into it. But is your ownership strategy just as valuable? Are you protecting it with the same passion? Because at the end of the day, what good is building an amazing company if you end up owning almost none of it?